Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Justin. We're back at the movies for another review, and today we're going to be doing the 1982 Sylvester Stallone classic, First Blood, starring Stallone, Richard Crenna, and Brian Dennehy. Now, the inspiration for this is, as you know, I'm a school teacher, as a lot of you probably already know. I've mentioned it in the past on the channel. I'm teaching my students about Vietnam right now, and the dramatic difference for men and women who came home from combat in this war compared to World War One, World War Two, and Korea. There was a significantly reduced sense of patriotism in this country for returning soldiers. And a lot of this had to do with the media being present for a lot of the war and seeing the atrocities of war. And unfortunately, GIs, American soldiers, they came home and, they weren't as well received, and unfortunately it was at a time of a recession and the economy was struggling, so they had difficulties finding jobs, and of course battling with PTSD. It made it hard, and this manifests itself in First Blood, and it's such an iconic movie. Stallone is absolutely fantastic. Now, whereas the rest of the Rambo movies are straight up action movies, this one has a lot of depth to it and a lot of emotion to it. And this is, I would argue that this is where you see a lot of Stallone's depth as an actor. He is a fantastic actor. The man has been nominated for multiple Academy Awards. Should have at least one, in my opinion. And he doesn't get the credit he deserves. So, as I said, he has, Rambo was a Green Beret veteran during Vietnam, special ops trained. He has come home, and over the course of the last several years has really struggled because of his post-traumatic stress disorder and the lack of opportunities available. And he is, it really starts with, he goes to meet one of his friends, Delmar Berry, who, he has his address, and when he gets there, he finds out that Delmar, the last friend that he had from Vietnam, has died. He died of cancer because of Agent Orange. And it's that scene in particular. You see Delmar's, I believe it's his wife. Delmar's wife is very cold. And that's in large part, I think, due to she hates everything about the war. She hates the fact that Delmar lost his life, and she wants nothing to do with it, so she responds to him very coldly. And, he moves on. He's homeless, so he's wandering through this little town, and the police officer basically wants to get rid of him because he's homeless. Offers him to take him out of town, even though he just wants to get something to eat. And he's arrested for vagrancy because he tries to go back. And that's when, he has the flashbacks. He's traumatized when the deputies, who treat him very, very badly, it triggers his fight or flight response, and he eventually escapes. He escapes into the mountains, and he wages a one-man guerrilla war against Dennehy and his deputies. One deputy dies. It culminates, obviously, in his death from a helicopter. Stallone's character is blamed for it, but it wasn't his fault. He eventually hides. They believe he's dead. he escapes from the cave that he's hiding and makes his way back to the town, where he destroys much of the town, and he ends up having a final showdown with Dennehy's character. And Colonel Troutman, played by Richard Crenna, has made his way to the town and ends up confronting him at the end. And John Rambo breaks down, basically telling you everything I just did. That he hasn't been able to find a job because, he'll wake up some nights not knowing where he is because he thinks he's still in Vietnam. And it's such a powerful, powerful story. And Rambo ends up surrendering to the police, and then that's where we get to the rest of the Rambo franchise going batshit crazy. It's such a phenomenally told story. It's simple. The simplicity of it is fantastic. Whereas you have a lot of extras at one point, it really comes down to three characters: Stallone, Dennehy, Crenna. That's the whole movie. And they all have a different perspective. And they all work really well together. And it's such a well-made movie. It's the simplicity behind it is fantastic. I think it's one of the best movies of the 1980s, personally. And because of that, I'm going to give it a solid 8.6. I almost gave it an 8.4. I'm going to give First Blood an 8.6. That's my review. I know I've been away for a couple weeks. I've been torn about keeping the channel the way it had been or going back to the movies. I got to go back to the movies. It's what I love more than anything. So I'm back. We're back to the original name, At the Movies with Justin. And I'll see you guys soon. Until then, take care.